Call the Ways and Means meeting to order. Sharita, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderwoman Howard.
Sure.
Alderwoman Hubbard.
Here.
Present.
Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Oldenburg.
Here.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Present.
Yeah, I forgot that I agreed to do
Clark
that.
Hubbard.
Here.
Chairman Palmer.
Present.
Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. 8 present, you have quorum.
All right, with the quorum being present, we will pass over the excused alderman till the end of the meeting. Move for approval of the minutes of the June 2nd, 2020 and June 4th, 2020 meetings. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Second. Sharita, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Chairman Palmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard.
Aye.
Okay.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. And Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
8 aye votes.
All right, thank you very much, members of the committee. Before us today, we have 3 items. Item number 1 will be Board Bill number 45. And this is the ordinance pertaining to the transit sales tax. During the treasurer's city's deposit funds pursuant to said sales tax and the city public transit sales tax trust fund, account number 1. This will be appropriating $9,354,000 from that sales tax for the period stated to the Bi-State Development AG for certain purposes containing a severability and emergency clause. So with that, we have with us today Talby Roach from Metro. Anyone else with you, Talby? And introduce any members of your panel with you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. So the presenters are going to be myself and Tammy Fulbright, Treasurer, and she will be sharing her screen. We have reduced our presentation to just 5 slides, hoping to be prompt, and we do have Lisa Stumpf as counsel in case there are any questions regarding any legal presentation.
All right, please proceed.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the entire committee, of course. So our effort, of course, is to run a transit system and provide the important transportation mode across the greater St. Louis area, including, of course, specific to the city. As you know, since I have been in my leadership position, which now I'm moving into the 2nd fiscal year presentation I've made to this, the effort has been to stabilize our costs, but still maintain where our level of service is. And I am happy to say that we have been largely successful at that. As a matter of fact, this year our expenses are up roughly 1.9% over fiscal year, but over a 2-year portion, that is at 0.85. I would note that one of the reasons why we're up to 1.99% is we were successful at getting a 3-year contract with our union ATU 788 employees, which was very valuable and well received. But of course, one of the biggest things is, although we prepared for year 21, that COVID hit, and quite frankly, from a revenue side, we had to completely make adjustments off of that. We have done so. So I have met, for instance, with city staffers. I did meet with the mayor specifically about this. So we have changed on the revenue side, and we have made an adjustment for a 20% reduction in sales tax over the fiscal year. So most of our municipal finance partners feel that this is good for planning purposes and for what we expect for the degradation of sales tax over the fiscal year of 21. And so the presentation that you will see will include that. Now, of course, 20% is an estimate. What we'll probably do is after the first quarter, we will look back at that and see if our projections are still in line and be sure that we're managing our money. But we have the statutory requirement to come before you and present a plan that is cogent, makes sense, and one that you're interested in voting for so that we can complete that requirement. And so with that, I want to try to keep this brief and to the point. So I will pass over the presentation to Tammy Fulbright, Treasurer for Bi-State Development.
Good afternoon.
Tammy, just for the record, you have to state your name publicly, okay?
I'm sorry. My name is Tammy Fulbright, and I'm going to share my screen here, if that's okay.
Oh, good.
And
Well, I do have it.
one second. Okay. So we have a five slide presentation, as Tolby mentioned, and this first slide is a kind of a recap of what he was saying. So this is, if you start looking, this is a 5-year period. The red line represents a 3% growth model. The blue line here represents a 2% growth model, and the green line actually represents Bi-State. So as he said, in 2019 to 2020, you can see that we really worked hard to control our cost. We only grew by about 100,000 from 19 to 20. And from 20 to 21, we grew 4.9 million, which is the 1.66% increase on expenses. And in total, the 2-year average is 0.85%. So that kind of is a good recap or a good slide to show that. This very next slide, on slide 2, this is a statement of activity. So this is a comparison between the budget for 2020 and the 2021 budget. This was prior to COVID, but we wanted to go through it because this is what we based our budget on, and then we made some adjustments, which I'll show you on the next screen, or the next slide. So with this first line item, passenger revenue, we had a slight increase there of less than 1%, or 38.4 million. The second line item is grant, sales tax, and contractual revenue. So that's where our sales tax comes in, and also St. Clair County Transit District contract, and some grant revenue that we get in for some operating expense and some non-capitalized projects. The next line for interest income, there's a slight increase there of less than 1%. And for other, we had a slight decrease there. And what's represented by other is advertising, vending machine and concession revenue, maintenance, and other paratransit contractual revenue that we have. So we had a slight decline, and that's primarily related to Polride and some Medicaid revenue there. Skipping down to the expenses, for wages and benefits, you'll see that we had approximately $6 million increase. And this increase is a result of the ATU contract, some additional expenses related to workman's comp, and also an increase in service for St. Clair County Transit District. The services line item, that represents non-capitalized projects, mobile mobile alternatives, safety and security, and different maintenance contracts that we have there. And that's an increase of about 4.5 million. Fuel and lubrications, you see a slight increase there, and that's mainly related to the increase in service for St. Clair County Transit District. Parts and supplies, we have a decrease there of almost 2.1 million, and that's primarily due to tires and tubes and revenue of equipment parts. So we worked really hard to try to reduce those expenses there. For casualty insurance, you'll see an increase of about 2.5 million. And the reason for this increase partially is because we looked at our actual reports, and we had been projecting a 70% confidence level based on those reports, but our numbers were closer to 80%. So we went with that 80% confidence level this year, and also due to just increases in the market itself has caused our increase for these types of expenses. For utilities, you'll see a slight increase there, and other operating expenses, which includes things like training, property taxes, leases, management expense, and there's a slight increase of 200,000 there. The next line item after operating expenses, so for operating expenses, we come to 309.8 million. Following that is our interest expense, which is for bonds, and capital leases, which is 25.6 million. And then other non-operating expenses. This is where the sheltered workshop expenses come in too, is approximately 2 million for a net deficit resulting in almost 2.1 million. And those that deficit will be covered by non-cash items. And slide 3, so this slide is a comparison of the 2020 budget to a revised budget for impacts of COVID. And these were very rough estimates that we were trying to show what we believe could be an impact. So mainly what we're focused on is revenue, because we see that to be where we will have the most problem area. So for passenger revenue, we reduced passenger revenue by 40% or 15.4 million. For grant sales tax and contractual revenue, we across the board, we took a 20% cut for the city, the county, and St. Clair County revenue. The CARES Act, you can see that coming in at almost 80 million, so that's going to cover these deficits for revenue. Interest income, we decreased that by 2.5 million, primarily due to the Fed funds rate being decreased by the Federal Reserve. And then where we added expense was for other operating expenses, includes COVID there, for 7.5 million. So that is what we believe are rough estimates. We are still, like this month, we will see the first results from sales tax on how COVID impacted April. And that'll give us a little better feel for what we think the impact is going to be on sales tax going forward. This next slide is just a pie chart representing that revenue. So you can see that St. Louis County, St. Clair County, and St. Louis City have, those numbers have been reduced by 20%, and we put in the 79.3 million for the CARES Act. We also accounted for the decrease in passenger revenue, and on the capital lease and investment income, we accounted for that $2.5 million increase there. And this last slide is our sales tax funding. So for FY20, we had a request of 41 million. Our original FY 2021 request is for 41.6 million. Due to COVID and the CARES reimbursement, we have adjusted that request to 33.3 million. That I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, well, is there a, that concludes the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, well, what we do now, we will, I'll turn it over to committee. We'll go through by seniority. We'll start with the Vice Chair, Alderwoman Davis. Any questions or comments of either Talby or Ms. Fulbright?
Joe, why don't you have her unshare her screen?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, okay.
Yeah, we have it on it.
All right, Madam Vice?
Yeah.
Alderwoman Davis, or do you have any questions or comments?
She's
No,
mu-
sir. Thank you.
Well, there, no, okay, no, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Alderman Vaccaro?
No questions.
All right. Alderwoman Hubbard?
No questions.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman Murphy.
No questions. It seems pretty self-explanatory.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman Spencer, I see you've joined us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was having a hard time with my mute earlier. We are voting. Thank you, Tammy, for being here. Thank you, Talby. A couple questions. The reduction, is that across the board? Is that reduction in total contribution the same across the jurisdictions? In other words, that 20% reduce equally across the board?
Yes, it is. So that we took that 20% for all the jurisdictions, and we've shown it that way, and then supplemented then with the CARES, which is an appropriate use. I would note that we also, as you may know, CARES is funded through the 5307 program directly from the feds, through our FDA regional administrator, and we discussed this strategy, this financial strategy with them, and received his endorsement.
Got it. Thank you. You know, through this the COVID crisis, there has been you all have adapted by not collecting fares at the Metrolink to kind of reduce contact. Are we going to continue that program?
So no, so we will be moving back to fare revenue. As a matter of fact, we started that on June the 1st.
Yep.
And we waited until we had more of an adoption of not only face coverings, and we added polycarbonate shields to all of our buses. So of all 425 buses, we were able to add a polycarbonate shield to provide that extra driver protection. And we were successful at that. And also what we want to do is get back to that normalcy as soon as possible. The sooner we can get back to normalcy, we're hoping the sooner we get to recovery. So that's really the tactic that we're pursuing there. I will say that also prior to the June 1st resumption in fares, we went out on the system, all my TSMs and service area managers, and handed out to the public masks. That was very, very well received. And we will continue to do that as soon as we, essentially, Alderwoman, we're shooting for compliance. We want people to be healthy. So it's not, we want to try to lessen any of the conflicts and move towards a compliance and healthy atmosphere. And so far that's been well received.
That's great to hear. And speaking of which, I understand that some of our drivers have been affected. Can you speak to that? How many of our Metro staff have been affected? I understand some were very, very ill.
Yes. So yes, this, as you know, the scourge of this pandemic has been significant. And as a matter of fact, we have had 2 deaths in our driver corps, very sad to report. We do very actively track all of our positive cases and have, of course, quarantined appropriately. Right now we have, and we track this every single day, and I can share this data if you're interested in it. But we have 35 positive cases among our driver corps. Unfortunately, that also then results in the associated quarantines. So if we do have a positive case, we pull our video resources and see if there's any folks who are affected, and then we quarantine them appropriately. But it's been very difficult. We have had a lot of pressure on the system because at one time, out of a 1,600 operator corps, I had almost 350 out on COVID-related absences. So that may be a quarantine, or for instance, we relaxed our rules on absences with, for instance, single parents who had kids who now were home and had some difficulty. So we had to, of course, work with our fundamental driver corps and do that. We also implemented a hazard pay with a successful negotiation with our ATU partners, and assuming that our operators, and this is currently in effect, if we get 100% attendance for the week, they get a $200 bonus. that is also very well received. And, I can't commend our driver, our frontline driver corps who have done an excellent job. There's a lot of pressure, but they're doing the work of the city.
Thank you. Our hearts and condolences to your staff. That's not only incredibly difficult for the loss of those individuals and their families, but I imagine is really difficult for your entire team to have that exposure and be on the front lines. Thank you for the adopting measures you've taken. Do you feel like you have enough to protect? Do you have enough resources through the CARES Act funding and through the funding you're requesting here today to cover the needs, the health needs, and ensuring the safety of your staff and the folks who rely on public transit?
So I do think that we are well positioned to complete the fiscal year. Where I would hedge a little bit is I don't know at the conclusion of fiscal year 21 where our sales tax will be. And I think anybody is appropriately guessing as to what that is. So what I'm trying to do is create a plan so that in the intent of the CARES Act, that we allow our economy to recover and that we're prepared for that and that we can provide those fundamental service. I am concerned, of course, at a year from today, if we still have a significant erosion of sales tax, unfortunately, we'll be having a tougher conversation about service levels. But right now, we look good. All of our PPE is in place. We have good supplies regarding that. Our driver corps is well suited. We just actually recently got a large supply of cotton masks from our partners at FTA. And so we've been doing well in that regard.
Good to hear. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today in the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That is all the questions I have.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Muhammad is not present. We'll go to Alderman Oldenburg. Any questions or comments?
No questions, no comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Boyd.
No questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Thank you. No questions.
All right, thank you. All right, Talby, Ms. Fulbright, thank you very much for the presentation. With no further comment or questions, I'll entertain a motion to pass Board Bill number 45 out with a due pass recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right. Okay, Sharita, please call the roll.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself.
All right.
Alderwoman
Proceed.
David,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard, Alderwoman Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Oh, he's with us.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Chairman Vaughn,
Aye.
10 aye votes.
Okay, with your vote, we have passed out Board Bill number 45. With that, we'll take up item number 2, which is Board Bill number 46. This is again pertaining to the transit sales tax. And it's as the other bill, these are all doing with the same deal. This is for account number 2. And I will then let Talby please proceed.
Yeah, so all of these are actually related since there are different sales tax associated with the entire appropriation. So they are all related to the same presentation, obviously, but we do leave it up to your Treasury and Finance Department on how to divide the various sums, but it applies to the same bottom line. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. With that, rather than going through it, anyone have any questions or comments in regard to Board Bill 46? Hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion to pass Board Bill 46 out with a due pass recommendation.
So moved.
Previous roll.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We've had a request for previous roll. Hearing no objection. we will then pass out Board Bill 46 with a do-pass recommendation. And our last item on the agenda for the Metro is Board Bill 47. This is appropriating a sum of $17,860,000. And again, through the same presentation. Talby, is there anything to add to this? I believe it's, no?
No, Chair, it is exactly the same, just different taxing initiatives.
Okay. Remember, we have public watching, so we want to make sure that they're aware of everything. So at that point, I will entertain any questions or comments in regard to Board Bill 47. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to pass out Board Bill 47 with a do-pass recommendation.
So moved.
Previous
Entertain a
Rob.
second?
Second.
Okay, I need a second. I've heard a previous roll request.
Second.
Hearing no objection, we will pass Board Bill 47 out with a do-pass recommendation. At this point, Talby, Ms. Fulbright, you were excused. We passed your bills out, and thank you very much for your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, resolutions for review, we have none. Any committee
John.
discussion? Yes,
I would like to discuss something.
that's what's coming up right now. Committee discussions, what would you like to discuss?
ENA chose, or whatever reason, have not met on Board Bill number 1, making it near impossible to pass it by the 30th, which I think is,
Yeah, I've discussed this with Lewis and with the mayor's office. We might be adding a meeting to the schedule. Lewis is pretty much resigned to adding another week to our schedule. So we're aware of that, trying to get through this. We do have new numbers coming out from Paul Payne also. So there's going to be another presentation. So that's entering to all of this, Alderman.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, and I did, yeah, that was my concern.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Thank you for your concern. We're aware of it. And there's going to be another presentation coming to us. So it's going to be bleak is my understanding. So enjoy the sunshine this weekend is what I can tell you.
That's so true.
What we will do, we excuse, I believe Alderman Muhammad, you joined us, is that correct?
Yes, I have. And you skipped me answering questions, but that's okay. I didn't have any.
I didn't see you sneak in. My screen's only so small. Thank you for your
It's
attendance.
okay. My feelings are already hurt.
All right. Alderwoman Howard did ask to be excused. So with that, we will excuse Alderwoman Howard for necessary absence. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right. We will
Thank
be
you.
meeting next Thursday morning at 10 a.m. It will be in the agenda for tomorrow's meeting. And we'll be taking up a few different SID bills. Alderwoman Hubbard, if you'd like to contact the clerk, or clerk's with us, I believe, we'll get your Board Bill 14 on there, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Everyone, thank you for your time and efforts today. I appreciate it. And everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and see you tomorrow morning. Thank you.